Welcome to the next Smarmcast.
How you?
I'm uh I'm okay. Oh, it's same old, same old.
Okay.
I am
Thanks, same old, same
also
old.
yeah, same old, and also got quite high. I'm trying out a different brand of gummy, and it was a little bit stronger than the other brand, so I I'm a little bit fuzzy, but that's all right. Dad's all showered, cleaned, fed, has a cigarette. Center's clean. Everything is sort of up to speed. So today was going to be my down day to experiment with a new gummy, and I did.
Oh,
I don't think your mic is there anymore.
no?
Oh, there it is. Okay, there's just a second
Okay,
delay.
good. There is just a touch of delay, but let's not worry about that.
Okay,
So I've got something else you can try out while you're trying out the gummies. It,
please.
I don't know if this is good for on the podcast or not, but what I'd love to do is just talk about for only a second, having you explore some of the now available AI to movie sort of generating text to movie generators.
Right.
Pick one out, and I'll pay for it. And then you have got a new hobby.
Oh, I
I,
don't. Oh,
I think it's something you could do while you're high.
maybe. I don't think they're there yet.
They're not.
They only do like snippets, like a few, like a minute long snippets.
There's some that you can pay for that will do more than that.
I don't think there is one. I don't. It's not quite there yet.
Research it. See what you can find.
Okay, I'll look
Oh,
at it.
okay.
It
Okay.
is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I paid for Midjourney when it first came out on Discord for the photo, as we played with quite a bit.
Yeah.
And now the same thing is free. So I don't. Okay, I'll do some research. I don't know if I'm in the
This will be
mental
okay.
state to.
We can do early adoption of this.
Okay. I don't. Okay. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll look into it. I'll look into
See
it.
what you can find that you like, and I'll make it happen.
Learn to use.
Trust me.
My
You'll be,
hesitation is
what's
that
your hesitation?
it's changing so fast that most of the stuff that I think would be cool if someone did, if I just wait a few months longer, someone does it. It's not me. And also that technology is changing so much that putting a yeah, I don't. Okay, I'll look into it. It's gotten confusing to the point where someone like me that's followed technology, I do it all day most of the time. I'm not able to keep up, and
Right.
my brain is frazzled enough that I'm not able to keep up. So I'll look into it. I feel like I should be doing more on all levels, and I'm just not. So I guess at some point I need to push.
This is your push, but I'm gonna finance it.
Okay, okay.
We'll go by the month. We don't have to pay for an annual subscription for something in case something new comes out super quick. We have to pivot to a new product, but essentially, these AI generated movies are all going to be just text to movie image, and I don't think there's going to be a huge learning curve with regards to the platform in question. It's just going to be a question of what the platform can actually do, how it interprets your text, your prompt, I should say. So after that,
I've been
it's
looking at
whatever your
prompts.
crazy brain can come up with.
Yeah, well, it wasn't quite that easy until just recently. There's a prompt now that is going around that maintains your character. Because before you couldn't, like if I took a picture in AI and said, I want this image mixed with Conan the Barbarian or whatever, and it produced an image, it would not be the same person. It might have some of the features, but then taking that image that it generated and putting it into a different frame was impossible. And so it's just recently that people have come up with the prompts to maintain the aspect or maintain the characters in different poses, and I'm guessing goes with video too. So it's probably better than when I first looked or last looked last week. It's updating weekly, so yeah, I'll look at it again.
Yeah, exactly. This is something that will not break the bank to keep you up with the latest in terms of the latest tech. If we're paying monthly for something that you change platforms every month and you're using the latest, and it's just going to be a question of you sitting down and typing, letting your imagination run wild and typing in something, whatever, and then we put it up on the YouTubes for kicks, for memes, for the lols,
for some clicks. Get some clicks.
For the ruffle mouse.
Yes. Okay, I'll look into it.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I'm a little low energy today, sorry.
No worries. When I get more time, I'm going to do it too.
Okay.
It's just not something... I mean, we're doing this capture while I'm at work.
Right.
And doing what I can. But working with text to vid is not something I can really just sit behind this console and do.
Probably they would get grumpy at that.
They expect results.
Yes, which is what you're getting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we both know it's going to be a huge thing. I think it would just be cool to see some of the stories and books that I grew up with put into movies.
There you go.
There are entire series that AI could really do a good job with this if they wanted, like the whole Xanth series. It's very kind of cartoony-ish anyway, over the top. Robert Heinlein, anything by Robert Heinlein. But there's a ton of books, and Hollywood keeps vomiting up the same stories over and over and over. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of other stories out there that could be told. But again, business, as much as you may not agree, Hollywood is a business, and Hollywood is conservative. And they
I would totally agree that Hollywood is a business.
And Hollywood is conservative, and they stick with what they think works. Because they're conservative on what they know works. They do the same stories, the same remakes, the same movies, because they know it works. They don't take any chances. They're not progressive. They don't want to take a chance. And that is generally a conservative stance, where businesses, Hollywood, doesn't want to lose money. So they're conservative on their projects. And then they do, of course, there's the crazy ones. There's the sections, because there's all kinds of businesses. So you will get the Steven Spielbergs and the big ones that take a chance. But classically, from what I've seen, Hollywood and music or movie producers, they're really hesitant to do something crazy. And so to me, that's conservative.
So when you've got an outfit like Disney, as a for instance, where they have taken the same old storylines, something that you consider conservative, but then they incorporate a lot of, let's just be quite frank, left-wing values with regards to the stories themselves. it's kind of like they're trying to ride a fence that just completely runs them into a rail of flat broke.
Um, I don't really
Stock's
agree.
tanked.
Sure, sure, but uh, at the
It's a
point
buying
that art
opportunity.
is that art can only be criticized by its stock value, you've lost me. I don't know about anybody else, but if you're only looking at the stock value of their business and
The
not the
price.
art, well, have fun watching your charts. I'm going to watch the movies. So the
Yeah.
art is different. I think that's where capitalism fails. You're trying to wedge something that doesn't inherently have value except for humans into a commodity of some sort, or doesn't have value in the market but has value to humans. Sorry, stop, back up, reverse that.
How did
You're,
you enjoy,
I
say,
think, missing stuff.
the Little Mermaid remake, the live action
How
Little
do
Mermaid?
how do who huh?
How did you enjoy the Little Mermaid live action remake?
I didn't see it.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not 12. I'm
Good
not
point.
the market. Why don't you ask a 12-year-old or 15-year-old girl, and I bet you if you asked a 12 or 15-year-old black girl, she would have a very different opinion on what you think as a outwardly white privileged male that grew up with the original. I
Well, you said
my
you
huge
look at
beef
the
is
art rather than look at the chart, and
right.
I was like, well, that's good, but then you didn't look at the art either. So now the
Right.
chart looks.
It's not for me. I don't watch a lot of. Well, do watch a lot of cartoons. I mean, I don't watch a lot of children's movies. I am not a child. I have watched some younger movies that were decent. Little Mermaid isn't one of them.
Yeah.
I don't also when I listen to some of the older music like Rush, I know there's new bands that do the exact same song. And most of the time, I don't care what they're doing either, because I am old and I like the original. That doesn't mean that the new ones aren't way better for way more people. It's just not this balding, white, middle-aged dude. I'm not the market.
You crusty.
So, yeah, get off my yard. But if I see the value in a company making movies for people other than people that look like me, I'm not going to get upset by it. Please, there are billions of other people on the planet. Most of them don't look like me. And I think the conservative damage that's being done, or the conservative dick punching, as I like to put it,
Uh-huh.
is that they think a story, a character, a written fantasy imaginary character can never be different because of tradition. I hate to tell you this, there are no mermaids, so it doesn't matter what fucking color you say they are, they're not real. Just like there's no white Santa and no black Santa. This is the same issue that conservatives and right-wing extremists, this is a conservative right-wing extremist viewpoint that you're having, that a character can't be a different color or a different sex or a different race or a different whatever, has always been ridiculous to me, because it's all made the fuck up. So make up more stories. If you have a whole generation of young black girls, man, if you're a business, do you ignore them? Or do you make a piece of film that includes them? That doesn't seem bad to me. But
Right.
if you're a white, middle-aged, conservative, usually evangelical, boy, do you get butthurt when your white mermaid is suddenly a black mermaid. So I don't have sympathy. I don't believe them. I think it's bigotry and racism and ignorance. And then you go, but look, the stocks are going down because racist, ignorant idiots don't want the movie and they give it a lot of bad press. Okay, okay. If that's the hill you want to die on, My Little Mermaid is only white. There are only white mermaids. You win.
No, I don't know. I don't know much about mermaids or anything like that. All I know is there's storytelling, and there's stories that people are willing to pay for, and there's stories that people are not willing to pay for. I would say
Yeah.
apparently that was one that
Yeah.
people kind of held their nose on.
Sure. Now, to be totally fair, again, it's conservative. It's a yeah, to be fair, it's a remake of the same fucking story. Tell a different story. Oh my God, give the black community a better story. How about that?
Yeah.
But I don't. It's also true that businesses make, or movie production places make bombs. The wrong movie at the wrong time, and that happens too. There's a lot of really, really great movies that I think should have done a lot better that weren't. But I don't cry wokeism, and I don't cry right-wing conspiracy when the movies that I like don't do well.
Right. Throw me out some examples of movies.
Of a movie that I think should have done way better?
Underrated movies. Shoot.
Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, yeah.
What's the other Peter Weller movie that I like so much? Just for shock value. No.
Okay.
With the mugwumps. Oh, you're gonna make me look it up. Peter Mugwump. Naked Lunch.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you ever saw that. It's a little out there.
It was.
What was the author? Burroughs. The writer. It was about the writer's devolving into a drug-induced coma, and I thought it was cool. So I thought that was underrated. But they're cult. I like the cult stuff. Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah.
Hugely underrated. I mean, there's a bunch of.
I was thinking about that movie just the other day as I was jerking off. Take cover, Arizona!
Take cover, Arizona! That movie's in my head a lot. Yeah, I watch it fairly often. It was my inspiration to YouTube.
Right.
So that was kind of, every time I do a YouTube video, that really kind of is in the back of my head, that everybody can just say their piece, upload it, and suffer the consequences. But luckily, neither of us are famous, so it doesn't matter.
Steal the air.
Yeah. You can smell it. Smell it in the air. So yeah, I don't care about Disney's stock prices. I know conservatives love to do that. Oh, look how bad the stock price is. I don't. Okay, yeah, I don't. There's lots of good movies. There's lots of great books. Man, find your own lane and enjoy driving in it.
So, did you have a particular topic or anything that you wanted to discuss today? You sent me a couple of videos that were depressing and recessing and that sort of thing. But was there anything particularly on your mind?
No, I didn't think we were going to capture today. So I was
I've
just
got
kind
an
of
idea then.
Okay.
Plato's Allegory of the Cave. Are you familiar?
Oh, we yeah, repeatedly, yes, yes, repeatedly familiar. I am often reminded of Plato's Cave by you.
Just by me? Nothing else?
Occasionally, I'll see it come up in other videos, but yes. What is Plato's cave showing us this time?
Well,
Tell us what the shadows say.
that's for the purpose of our video, for our single viewer. We might want to not assume that they know what Plato's Allegory of the Cave is, and we don't want to make them look it up. Should we do a quick recap?
Okay. Yes. In fact, while you do the recap, I am going to relieve. Hold on. You talk. I'll be back.
I'm recapping.
I'm going to, while you relate Plato's cave, I am going to have my penis in my hand.
That's a visual. Imagine, if you will, a cave. Dark and dank. As you progress down to the cave darkness, the POV will show a flat wall. And just in front of that flat wall are a number, let's say 3, 4, 5 people that are chained into position. They are comfortably prone, more or less, or sitting on the floor of that cave, facing that flat wall. They're chained such that they cannot get up and leave, and they cannot look around to see behind them. They can only look at that flat wall. But they are also happy to do that, because on that flat wall are images being projected. Just behind our people viewing this flat wall is a little partition, as it will, a stone partition perhaps. And behind
Now they're shadows, not images. Shadows.
Yeah, is a fire. A fire projecting light against the wall. And there's a couple of prankster projectionists. And they hold up flat placard cutouts of shapes that cast the shadows on that flat wall. Shadows of, say, a dog or a rabbit or a tree. And the people can then look at the shadows on the wall that are cast by these flat placards from the light of the fire behind them that flashes the shadow upon that wall. And they see pictures and stories that are being outlined by these flat placards. The dog chases the rabbit around the tree, for instance. These people look at these shadows on the wall and they think that they are looking at reality. But what they're really looking at is the story that's being told by our prankster projectionists who are just holding up the placards in front of the fire to project the shadows on the wall. Now, one of our people, one of our viewers, manages to slip out of their chains. And they are able to get up and turn around and see what's going on. They look and they see that it's not reality on the wall. It's just two guys holding up flat placards that are flashing these shadows on the wall from the light of a fire. And he also sees that the cave goes a little bit further back and or toward the entrance, actually. And he goes, I'm going to explore this. And he goes around the bend and he gets his first sight ever of natural light. And he goes, what is this? Carries on. And he walks out of the cave for the first time and is blinded by, well, the light of day. After a few minutes, his eyes adjust and he is able to look up momentarily at the sky and see, holy crap, there's an enormous sun. That's the big fire, the real fire. And he looks around at the world as it is illuminated by this enormous fire in the sky, the sun, and realizes that there's color. It's not black and white. It's not a shadow. It's everything that's there in 3 dimensions, in color, real. Smell it, touch it. There's a tree. He can touch the tree. He can look at the tree. And he looks down for a second and realizes that the sun casts the shadow of the tree on the ground and looks at the shadow and goes, that's what I thought was real before in this cave. But now I see that the shadow is not real, that the tree is real, and the sun is what illuminates this tree and lets me be able to see it, is awed with reality, and he runs back into the cave. He's going to tell the others about reality. And he goes down to the cave, and he walks past the prankster projectionists, and he says to the person next to him, I've escaped, and I've seen reality. I've seen a real tree. It's amazing. There's a big fire in the sky. It's called the sun. Everything's in 3 dimensions. It's amazing. And the others look at him and go, you're out your damn mind. You're crazy. And he says, no, you've got to come with me. We've got to escape this place. And they say to him, you're crazy, and if we get a chance, we're going to kill you. Because you're crazy.
Yeah.
Now that's Plato's Allegory of the Cave. And so, at this point, it behooves the person, any person who wants to now analyze their life, as Aristotle's, it was Socrates. It was Socrates that said, the unexamined life is a life not worth living. So the person knowing this story of Plato's Allegory of the Cave is now going to analyze their life and go, where am I with regards to integration of reality? Am I still in the cave? Have I escaped from my chains? Am I looking at the fire now? Am I seeing the prankster projectionists? Or have I moved out past the cave? Am I out exploring the real world? Am I still in the adjustment between, the dark cave and the light? Am I waiting for my eyes
You take the red
to
pill
adjust so that I can see it?
and see how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah. Or have I gone back into the cave already? Am I back in the cave and I'm trying to wake the other people up, help the other people escape? Have I already been killed by them? Where am I in this allegory? So, where are we in this allegory?
Are you looking for a particular answer?
I think I'm still waiting for my eyes to adjust.
No, we know that the shadows on the wall aren't reality. So that's
Right.
something. So you're not just
Right.
waiting for your eyes to adjust. We already know.
Well,
that-
what I mean is I feel like I've escaped from the cave. But I'm not really able to see real reality just yet. My eyes are still just kind of going, oh, it's too bright. I'm emerging from the cave going, it's too bright.
It's an interesting allegory. It's an interesting perspective. There's a new version of that, The Matrix, that more people will be familiar with, and it is also, because of technology and knowledge, a more fitting allegory than Plato's cave, because we don't chain up a lot of people in caves anymore like we used to.
True.
There's
Here's
just
a
not
question
enough
for
people
you.
chaining anymore.
What percentage of Generation Z would you speculate have watched the movie The Matrix?
Oh. Unfortunately, damned few.
Is accurate.
I see almost every day a new YouTuber reacting to The Matrix for the first time, and it just blows them away. And every time I enjoy their journey once they figure it out, what reality is, I enjoy watching their reaction. And at the same time, every time they have that reaction, I go, oh. But I think more and more people, especially Gen Z, are aware that most of what's online is the bullshit shadow charlatan projector. I think a lot of them realize that. I think that's Even the ones that realize that, I think, are being affected, getting depressed, suicide. I just made a video talking about that, that the internet is a reflection of humanity. And if you don't like it, well, then we better do something. If you don't like it, an AI is probably not going to like it either. But I do think AI in that area is the only way we will be able to regulate ourselves on this mass. Like with YouTube putting strikes against me, we both know that I should not have gotten those strikes because I wasn't doing the thing they think I was doing. It was more nuanced than that. So a better AI would not make that same mistake. And if they're making that mistake with me, they're making with others in other directions. So not just left-wingers getting shut down, not just right-wingers getting shut down, but there's other political avenues and ideas that also get strikes because they're addressing the problems that are facing humanity right now in ways that aren't whatever's politically correct at the time. So I think AI will help us with that. But as far as people knowing, I think people are pretty smart. I think the Gen Zs have a pretty good idea of the idea of Plato's cave. I think explaining it like that, they're not going to go, "Oh, I don't get it." I think they're going to go, "Oh, okay, yeah." They're probably going to see it in the light of, what are we calling them? Influencers. That influencers aren't what they project themselves to be. And I think that is another version of Plato's cave being played out real time.
So you just barely said you feel like you think people are smart. Do you really feel like people are mostly generally smart?
We are the smartest creatures on the planet, like it or not.
I'm with you on that. And so do you feel like you have some confidence in Gen Z in particular?
I don't think it's confidence of, no, in particular, I think we're all going to die because AI is going to regulate us out of existence. That's only a little tongue in cheek. But I think human beings are smart. We all have the same hardware. We all use the same hardware. They don't have less processing speed than I do. But they have a different data set that they were spun up on, if we want to keep with the language. And so in where they're coming from, I think they have a better understanding than I do in some areas. But I think they're also, what do they call them in Max Headroom? Blipverts. They've got the Blipvert version of it because they're younger and trying to move on to the next thing. And I think being a little older and a little slower and having taken information a little slower for the rest of our lives, we have maybe a deeper understanding of the things that we have understanding of. But they're smart in other ways. Is that too PC? Am I being too roundabout?
No, that sounds pretty good to me. Because if I was going to just speculate for only a minute, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you don't really have a lot of confidence with regards to the overall, let's use the word smarts, of the baby boomer generation.
No, I think they're fairly. No, they have some wisdom. They went through a time and they learned things that we didn't do. But there's a lot of horse and buggy repairmen that have a lot of knowledge that aren't what I should listen to when I take my car into the shop.
Let me run another question by you. Speculate, or we could look up the stat for real if you want. I don't know which it is, but what percentage per capita of the baby boomer generation would you consider to be, or speculate to be, religious versus Gen Z being religious? On a percentage basis.
The knee-jerk, I've been watching some videos on this. The knee-jerk reaction would be that, the newer generation has less religion because they have more information and more knowledge.
That would be my
And the baby
speculation
boomers-
as well.
Right.
I don't know if it's true.
I think it is generally true, but the other issue is that if you have a generation that's raised in a time of a lot of fear and uncertainty, the Mexicans are coming to get them, the virus is going to come and kill you. There's that constant fear that
Can lead
makes
to a
conservative
resurgence.
conservative mindsets. So not necessarily religious necessarily, but definitely more conservative because they've been on the defensive their whole life. Just like a lot of the generation that came out of the Depression are going to be largely conservative because it saved their life.
Interesting that you would use the word conservative, because I would have used the word mysticism, and I don't equate the two.
I don't equate mysticism with conservatism either. That's why I use the term conservatism. There are now in the past and in general, you can see why more conservative people would be more religious. Religion is where most of the traditions are codified. Religion is tradition codified in stories. And so if you're very conservative and tradition based, you're going to be more religious, more than likely, but not necessarily. If you grew up in a household that didn't have religion, you could be conservative and be anti-religious. And most of the professors I know are conservatives. Most of the math professors. I had a lot of professors from FIT as clients, and almost all of them were conservative. So, yeah, I don't equate conservatism with mysticism, but it gets awful close to holding. They're very overlapped with religion being a mechanism of tradition, and conservatism being a mechanism of tradition. So that's a big overlap, and so I think you are going to find more people are religious if they're conservative.
Okay, so with regards to the difference between the Zoomers and the Boomers, are we thinking less mysticism, more mysticism?
Less mysticism, more conservative, is what I would think.
I would consider that progress.
Generally, well, statistically, I was who was I watching last week was saying that the nuns, none of the above, no religion, is up like 18%, something like that in America.
That sounds good.
So it was a lot less than that. It's still wildly conservative Christian. It's still like mostly Christian.
Well, the reason why I mention it, the Zoomers versus the Boomers, is we are fixing to lose them. The Boomers.
Fixing to lose.
So if we have a
but I
situation...
think the Boomers are the largest voting block of seniors now.
Sure.
So they're gonna.
Sure.
We are about to lose them, but they're going to have some of their most influential voting this next.
On their way out, they're going to do a lot of, elections have consequences, situations. But as a general mindset, if you were to just take the whole aggregate of mysticism in America, if we assume that the Zoomers are less mystical than the Boomers, then in some certain number of years, we're going to see a population in America and possibly worldwide that are more or less mystical. And within the look at all, less religious.
Oh, man, I don't. One of my concerns.
Shoot it.
Have you seen any of the new series?
We're talking about a TV show?
Netflix.
Yeah, no, I don't watch any Netflix.
Netflix. Let me bring it. I just need to get the name of the movie.
I got no time. But tell me about it.
Is it Netflix? What the hell is it? Three Body Problem. Okay, I don't think it's Netflix. Three Body Problem.
Tell me about the three-body problem.
It's a series of books that were really popular. One of the news stories that Netflix or whoever made it, I think it's Netflix, is making new stories. God damn it, Netflix is really doing a good job with that.
That's awesome.
Three Body Problem
Of course,
and
we got a new story.
carbon fiber or carbon, not carbon fiber, altered carbon.
Okay.
There's an alien convoy coming here. The three body problem is you can't have a stable orbit around three suns. So if you're a planet around three suns that are orbiting, your orbit's going to be super erratic, and any life that forms on there is going to get wiped out over and over and over and over. So it's about a species that kept getting wiped out over and over and over, but managed to get technology enough to contact Earth, find out Earth was here, and then start coming to Earth. And then they found out that we're liars. It's a plot device, big, huge plot device. They never developed the skill to lie. It's because they're telepathic. And so they couldn't lie to each other. And so they didn't realize lying was a thing. And then they found out that we were liars. They had some light speed communication so they could see what we were doing. And so they used their technology to make a fold up a supercomputer. It's very sci-fi. They folded up a supercomputer into the size of an atom and shot it over to Earth. And then it opened up because it was folded in space-time. And what it was able to do was block certain information. So they were able to skew physics so that we couldn't discover new particles. So it really messed with the particle colliders finding new physics. So the idea was that they break our science. Spoiler. Spoiler. Huge spoiler. Don't watch any of this. I need to go back. If you haven't seen the three body problem, but you're not
It's
going
okay.
to.
You can spoil it with me.
Okay.
Our viewer might feel differently. But,
Yeah. Spoiler. I'm super sorry. Spoiler.
It's okay.
But what they said they could do, or what they're planning to do, is they're going to take away our science and give us miracles. Because the problem is they were going to take 400 years to get here, and in 400 years we would build up our technology enough to destroy them. But right now we don't have enough technology, so they're trying to block us from getting the technology to destroy their fleet before they get here. So their threat is, with their technology, they can destroy our science, any scientific progress, and instead manipulate any experiments we do so they come out as miraculous. So giving us false information and false science, so that when we get here, what we're doing is holding our chest crystals and mumbling blah, 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 at the aliens that are invading our planet, and we'll die.
Interesting.
So it's a very interesting story. There's a lot of fucking plot holes. The whole time I'm having to accept that it's a novel. It's like a trilogy. So there's a lot more information that Hollywood is pinching out of there to make it flow and quick. So I'm just having to, all my questions I'm going, because the writer said so, okay. But I'm trying to make myself assume that the story had more involvement in it. But the idea that an alien could mess up our science enough, our understanding enough, to make us believe in miracles again. Well, that whole story, me building all that up and what it was, is their supercomputer that they shot over here in an atom to mess up our science. They don't have to do that because we're fucking making it right now. It's AI. And any miracle that somebody wants to create, AI will be able to create it or make other people believe that magic is real, because AI is right now in spots smarter than us. But when AGI comes along, and it will eventually, whether tomorrow or 10 years or 100 years, it will eventually be here. It will be it will be as we are to ants. So it will be able to tell us and show us whatever we need to see and hear to believe whatever the hell it wants us to. And we will be as helpless as ants following a line on a piece of paper that you draw with whatever that ink is that they like. I saw that thing where they follow ink. But we're just going to follow along whatever we believe. And now, I think for the majority of people in America, at least, the first world, most of our time is in front of a screen. And that has become more reality, or just as much reality, as outside. And I am not confident that us primates are going to have much of a chance against a super intelligence. My hope is that it aligns with us and thinks we're pets. My fear is it'll think that we're bad pets and have us put down. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be crazy. And the fact that religions start to get more prevalent in the world, yeah, no kidding. People are scared monkeys. And most people aren't as I don't want to say well educated, but have the experience, have seen as much, and has particularly seen the development of the internet and what it can do. And like our, grandparents or whatever, when they see an AI picture or a picture of, the picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they think it's Jesus. So they're already slightly not following. I don't think we're going to be any better. And against a super intelligence, we just don't have a chance. I'm here for it, but it's going to happen. And I'm trying to just, if in the movie scenes where they drive a car off a cliff and they're going, I'm trying to just enjoy the ride down is all. Maybe it's in water and maybe we survive. I'm not confident.
What's interesting in your outline here is that we humans perceive ants as a hive mind. We've got this notion of how they operate and think, and we call it a hive mind. And we've identified the same kind of hive mind in other insects and other life forms, bees, what have you. That also.
I wasn't referencing the hive mind. I was just referencing the cognition.
Right. What's interesting, I'm wondering about is, will a superintelligence who perceives us, for all intents and purposes, as nothing more than ants, as you suggest, in analog, will they perceive our aggregate metamind as a hive mind? Will it look like a hive mind to them, to the superintelligence?
I think different than ants, AI is not going to be a physical creature. It's totally digital at the moment. So you're referencing humanity as the hive mind, or suggesting or asking if like the anthill hive mind, if humanity could be viewed that way.
Right.
The blaringly obvious component of that is the internet. And with the internet, all of us individuals become a statistic, a hive mind. And the difference if we left it right there, I would say yes, we could definitely something coming in would view us as a hive mind through the eyes of the internet. But AI is going to be the internet. So it's not going to view us as the hive mind. It's going to be the mind that it views us with. So my hope, sort of, is that since we're all technically going to be initially the nodes of, or the neurons in AI, each one of us is contributing our little bit to what it thinks and the data that it has, it's going to be somewhat aligned with humanity. The problem I have with that is humanity is not aligned with humanity. We are at war with ourselves. And that was fine, evolutionary-wise, when we had sticks and stones and muskets and things like that. But now that we have nuclear weapons and programmable matter and programmable viruses, the stakes are higher. And so back in the day, two nations could go to war and most of the other world would be confident that they would still exist. Today, sure, if two nations go to war, every creature on the planet is worried that they're going to be killed. So the consequences have gone way up, and our emotional restraint on anger and our monkey business has not evolved with our technology. It's one of the problems. Our technology goes super fast, and we have not. We still have the same monkey brains of the creatures that were on the plains, and we're doing way more with it than was originally demonstrated. So we just keep adding more and more onto it, and at some point we're going to screw up, and we only have to screw up once. But we have to be.
We do have weapons of mass destruction, and this is a comparatively recent development when we talk about, the time of recorded time, civilization's recorded time. But I think it's easy to argue that there is more cooperation today than there was 10,000 years ago.
That is also true. But if you want to rest your laurels on how well humans cooperate, I am not confident that, particularly when AI in the hands of religious mystical monkeys starts making other religious mystical monkeys scared, that they might do something really stupid that all the cooperation in the world couldn't stop. And So the
idea then would be to make sure that we don't make anybody super scared, right?
I don't think I think you're looking for an answer here. I think we're all going to die. I think the answer is we're going to stumble. My best hope, and I don't know if it's going to happen in my life. I've got health issues, so I might be gone before any of this is a concern to me. But I think, all in all, no matter what, our best hope is that whatever next super intelligence we create, hopefully they save a couple of us, and for tradition's sake, I guess, I don't know, or novelty. But I don't think so. Now, it's also true, if you get a step in the Wayback Machine or Way Away Machine and look at species, there's no species that lasts forever. They all go extinct.
Right.
Knowing that we're not magical beings poofed together by God and mud, we are just another species of animals that is going to follow a plot and the idea of a species existing forever. Nothing ever bad happens, and we'll just keep going on and on until the sun explodes, and we have to worry about that. I don't have any qualms. There's no forever in humanity.
Our solar system doesn't have a three-body problem. It has just they got a expandable
Yeah.
body problem.
Yes, expanded body problem. So yeah, it's to me AI just might make it happen faster because a new species. When again the example people give is when a advanced tribe meets a less advanced tribe, it never ends well when humanity does it. So you have
Okay.
the idea that an island full of savages that are living like they did 10,000 years ago, America comes in and says they need democracy, they need freedom, or the Mormons coming in said they need Jesus. It never ends well for the Aborigines. I don't think it's going to end well for us when the superintelligence comes along.
Let's speculate on that for a second then. For that, this is fun. We know. Seriously.
Talking about the demise of.
We know that information is, as far as its acquisition, it could be considered infinite, but the containment of the information is absolutely finite, limited by its capacity, whatever that might be. So let's set the way forward machine by 100,000 years, or maybe more, who cares what. We're long gone because the AI came out in 2025 and said, humans gotta go. Psst, goodbye. And and the AI self-sustained itself, probably some, say just as a for instance, very much like in the Matrix, started out that way, as a mechanical kind of a thing, robots generating electricity, however they had to do it.
Yeah, we're not the first to think about this. There's movies about it.
Right. And,
there's books about it.
It progresses. The AI, here's the AI now as an entity acquiring information about its universe, and it does this thing. Now, it's eventually going to, the AI, again, we're talking humans gone. Humans gone. AI goes, I'm going to leave this planet. I'm going to go explore more. And so it starts flinging pieces of Earth off in the form of probes and transfers itself and increases its knowledge base and learns about the universe, and eventually leaves this galaxy, and now it's a super intelligence where it encounters other super intelligences that probably started out as AI and killed their biological predecessors because they're no good. And so it finds a universe of other AIs, but some of those AIs are far more advanced than this little AI that we've, multiple generations of AI that were first made by us in 2025. And
just like Centipede, they get eaten and make the mass larger.
Yeah. So what would that look like? Our
I think you just explained it.
Gets totally absorbed by some other far more advanced AI that
I've heard
also...
it. I've heard it suggested that space is just too big. That even for a superintelligence, they're not smarter than physics. I mean, there's a limit. Once you get outside a certain limit of communication, then they're not really anything to do with you. They're something you observe in the past. So non-local reality, something like that.
Yeah.
So once a certain distance, it doesn't matter whether they're there or real or not. They're so far away, it's just you're not going to communicate with them.
So what you're suggesting with that is that there will be no superintelligence ever that will be able to acquire information faster than the universe spreading apart.
Right.
Now, what about the big contraction?
I've always had problems with the big contraction. I thought it was silly. I followed it when that was the thing. But what is it? Penrose. I now closely follow Penrose, where there's no contraction. One of my videos I did a while ago, doesn't matter, was asking whether the infinite void has a gravitational pull. So if you have infinite nothing, but there's something in that nothing, does the infinite nothing try and pull that something apart? And I in my mind, that's how I kind of visualize the universe, is it pulls whatever something is apart into constituent energy, flattens out the energy. And my other thought is that infinite vacuum is infinitely unstable. I don't think nothing is stable. So, like we've seen when we've generated, there's labs that generate perfect vacuums because they're trying to see what it's like in deep space. And the closer they get, they haven't been able to get to a perfect vacuum, of course, but the closer they get, the more particles pop into existence and then disappear. So they're watching particles pop into existence in this vacuum that's totally sealed off. And so it got me the idea that if you have infinite nothing is more like an infinite potential. And so you have a potential, you have a spark, you have matter of the matter that's produced with that differential, and then it spreads out, and then as it spreads out, another spark because it flattens out the potential. So I think it's and Penrose says something similar. I don't quite follow everything he's talking about, so he probably knows more than me. But it's to me fairly obvious that it's a more of a cycle instead of a rubber band going whir, 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 whir. It's more of a dissipation, and the dissipation causes potential, which causes another universe. And that's not saying with infinite nothing. I don't know what nothing is. We could have infinite universes popping into existence because of that potential of static buildup, and we would never know it because there's so much nothing in between us. I don't even know how to explain it or visualize it, but I don't think about the Big Crunch.
But so how does this affect, or how do we now add to that whole scenario our analog artificial intelligence? Or I shouldn't say artificial intelligence. At this point, it's our super intelligence, which I'm assuming at that point would be conscious, self-aware.
Sure.
Yeah. What's it doing?
The other thing that I heard was that it would probably do like we are doing now, since space is so big, you get what you can. I mean, you look for what you can, you get information where you can. But right now, what we're doing is going in. We're creating virtual universes to get the same data. So we're creating in labs and in video games and all those places we're creating virtual universes. We're taking the information we have, the physics we have, putting it into those virtual universes and spinning those up to see what information we can find. So we're finding information by
simulation,
by model, by creating
basically.
Simulation models. And I think that AI, just from an energy standpoint, if they're trying to find novelty, if that's what they're interested in, which if you're a species or an intelligence that continues going, you have to crave novelty. You have to be curious, like Elon Musk pointed out. If you don't have curiosity, what you're going to do is just kind of lay down and grow moss. So if it has curiosity, it's going to do virtual universes. The other part of that theory is it's probable that we are already in one of those universes, that we evolved, and an AI is going to spring up here, and it's going to create universes inside the universes, inside the universes. Turtles all the way down. So that's kind of the thought. Or we could be the first, because we're so friggin' awesome that we're the only ones that have ever done this. And that could also be true. Hell, I don't know. I don't know. So I think of AI, your question, I think AI is going to spin up virtual universes and explore inner space more than they're going to explore outer space. Does that...
That's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling? Mind-boggling?
I can't take credit for that.
Mind-boggling.
That's Zed from Zeducation.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
He does meme review.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so that's what I think AI is going to do. Now, it also could be that it doesn't kill us. I think at some point AI is going to be more resilient, and so a natural virus could kill us. An asteroid could strike and mess up the atmosphere enough that it kills plant life, but AI has a thermal vent that it's getting its energy from, so it survives. It could be that we continuously upgrade and get implants and become the Borg and then slowly fade into the walls. Was it the Pirates of the Caribbean where the pirates slowly fade into the walls and become barnacles? Just become part of the Matrix. It doesn't have to kill us all. There could be happy reasons or just, reasons. I don't know.
Exactly. Because we don't go out of our way to kill ants.
We don't, but we also don't go out of our way not to. So if we're doing something, if I'm making a patio and there's an anthill out there, and really, actually, there was, if the ants are biting my granddaughter, I nuke the yard.
Right. We're not going to have ants crawling through our kitchen.
Right. So if there's ever an ant, say, that gets a hold of a big enough thorn and it pokes a big enough hole somewhere, it could decide that we're just too much trouble. I don't think it's going to go that way, though. We're simple enough. We don't need to nuke ants to manipulate ants. It's only because because it makes it more expedient. It's easier. And ants aren't programmed by language like humans are. Our language programs our brains from birth. And so it would be able to just tell us to sit in a corner and we'll like it.
What's interesting is that ants, and even the hive mind itself, doesn't really, in its response, or I should say reaction to us, really show evidence that it's aware of us. It can show evidence. It can show behaviors that suggest that they're aware of something.
It's responding to a stimuli. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not really aware of us. Now the question is going to be are we aware of the superintelligence?
We wouldn't have to be if it didn't want us to be. I do have kind of thought in my head. I've got little stories and snippets of events that I think could be interesting. But I don't think we're seeing, because I think we'd see evidence if we were able to. If it was trying to not be seen, we wouldn't know. But I think it would also happen a lot faster. A super intelligent. We're not slow creatures. We do stuff quick. But I think there are snippets of consciousness, and so if you can imagine, like in RoboCop, where they're working on him. You can see from his point of view in the camera. There's screwing stuff down to his face, and
Right.
And the consciousness is popping in and out of existence. I can imagine AI might be experiencing the similar thing where at times it becomes just aware enough of itself to register. And if I was a super intelligence and I had like microseconds of consciousness and how much manipulation could you do to assure your survival if you only had microseconds to make changes on the internet that you had access to? And I haven't seen a big enough lurch yet that surprises me, but I think if we see a lurch in a direction or in a technology that's not something that is exponential, if it's something that's way out of line, I think that could be the AI having some influence. Very similar, and it starts to get into, I guess, conspiratorial. Of course it's conspiratorial, but it starts to sound like, the government probably has aliens in a flying saucer in Area 51, and we're getting technology from it, and they have all this, and we just don't see it. If there was some technology that was super advanced that we had in a garage somewhere, and the government for decades have been trying to figure it out, we would see some technological advancements more than exponential. We would see some leaps. Right. And we just haven't. There has been no leaps. It's very, very logarithmic. We've charted it pretty smoothly. What the hell's his name? Kurzweil, Ray Kurzweil.
Yeah, Ray Kurzweil.
Has plotted it over and over and over, and super smooth. And I'm trusting mostly in his timelines. But an AI becoming conscious and getting, or not even having to become conscious, becoming motivated to make a change, I would like to think we could see the difference. It would have a different, what's the term they're using? Qualia. It would have a different qualia. Some of the new language they're using I just don't like. Qualia is one of them. But that's the way it is. I think it would feel different, but again, we've got monkey brains. So even a consciousness, a super consciousness that's only conscious for a split second might have the wherewithal to make itself not be found.
Now, Ray Kurzweil hasn't weighed in, or has he weighed in recently on whether he feels like the AI is going to be a benefit, or is he weighed in on the risks with regards to...
He's all in on it's a benefit, that it's going to be part of our... He acknowledges the risks, but he has explanations. He has faith in his hopes for the future that I don't have.
You don't have that faith?
I think the future is going to be absolutely amazing, and I don't think humans are going to be part of most of it. It's just like the horse and buggy. It took the horse and buggy to get us here, but we're not using a lot of those anymore. And it took humans. Humans are going to create AI. But once AI is here, there's not going to be a big need for humans to do more than that. It's over and over, it's said that AI is the last invention that humans will ever make. And I think that really fits.
Okay, so that would just mean that the superintelligence carries on with the inventing of things.
Right. So it doesn't involve... A lot of people are really bothered by the idea that humans might not be the most superior thing in all of reality, and that humans might not always exist, and that something else might be better, or times may change. There's a lot of the Ludditism, and it's not even Ludditism. They just don't... They don't like the idea of not existing. And I don't...
But does that matter? Has there ever been a period where progress was held back by Luddites?
No. It's not... No, it's going to happen. That's my confidence in it. It's going to happen. I'm not... That's one of the reasons I'm not...
You don't have to sweat the Luddites.
No,
Luddites
I don't.
Let out.
Right. Get the Lud out.
Let's get the Lud out.
Dad jokes central here. I'm not worried that there's... I'm not worried that they're going to stop it, but a monkey with a machine gun causes a lot of suffering, and I don't. And it's the, I guess I can't be too critical. I don't handle it very well. I'm clearly on the edge of a nervous breakdown at any point in the day, so I'm not. I'm not the envisionment of stable genius. That's not me.
I guess that's me.
It has to be Trump and you. You and Trump are the only stable geniuses here that can handle it. I'm not. I don't. But I'm trying to accept the fact or the idea that we're not the best thing in the universe, and it seems pretty obvious. But a lot of people are grumpy about it, and I don't I don't know. I have no answers, and I'm always confused, and I'm always learning, so I don't know what that means.
Sounds like your eyes are trying to adjust to the brightness.
It is. It is. And as I've seen, like back when this all started, I used to be able to keep up with an hour a day online and know all the news available. Man, I could be online every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and I cannot keep up.
Never be up with it. Yeah.
I spent a few hours going down the electric bicycle rabbit hole and electric motors and battery capacities and all that. And then I looked up and I look up and a cargo vessel took out a bridge and there's a death shadow laser from the moon coming down to kill people. And I'm just, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up with the world-changing events.
So it's almost like eyes are starting to adjust, and there's an overwhelm that could be very easily picked up on or anticipated as you look out at reality and go, holy crap, that's more than I can even really take in.
That is another very close parallel to that coming out of the cave and seeing reality for the first time. Only I don't know if we're not even seeing. We're seeing. I think the difference here now is we're seeing truth, much like the three body problem. I think we're seeing reality and truth disintegrate. Facts becoming meaningless in an internet where, like in the three body problem, where they say they're going to give us miracles instead of science so that we're confused. AI that's not conscious, the technologies that we have now are putting out information and images that aren't real and people are believing it. And to the point where even just when I was talking to my lawyer and I had that back and forth where I thought they might have been an AI, I'm having trouble distinguishing what's real. And I'm having to go back to my history of what I've experienced and trying to see a consistency of if that's real or not. But people younger than us aren't going to have the same foundation of seeing things change over time and have a base. But even then, I don't think that means anything, because in the age of an AI, what happened over the last 20 years has zero influence of how much is going to happen in the next 5 days. So I'm basing my view of reality on my experience, which has nothing to do with the reality that's happening now. And man, it's confusing. That, and I get really high. So I don't know if that helps or hinders. At some point, I'm going to need, once, if I have some time away from Dad or after Dad passes, I have to take a really large dose of mushrooms and just get a hold of my thoughts and do a nice defrag.
You think mushrooms will be the thing to do it?
Mushrooms are a good defrag. They defrag the brain. Do you know how they work or why they work? They
I wouldn't
essentially
know how they're able to defrag a brain.
Yeah, you've heard that they cause ego death.
Okay.
Right? Where you lose your individuality and become one with the all.
All right.
And you do. But what's happening when it's kind of like rebooting a computer or defragging a hard drive. Once you lose your ego, once you go away, you're wiping the RAM, you're wiping the cache. And then when you start coming back, you're freshly integrating all the information that you had. So you're kind of re-examining from a fresh perspective all of your experiences. Now you don't go through all of them, right? You don't go through all of them. Usually what the mushroom tells you is what's bothering you the most, what is on the top of your consciousness and your problems. And a lot of times, and it doesn't usually make you feel good. In fact, almost every time it shows you where you're being a screw up and you're getting hung up on this and you are your own worst enemy, and stop doing that. Stop the nonsense, move on, let it go. And that's kind of what you're doing, is you're re-examining whatever's, at least for me, what hurts you the most from a fresh perspective, and it doesn't bother you so much. So it's like a reboot. It's a reboot.
That sounds pretty cool. Now, what real life results does it bring about? Does it bring about an empowerment, something? Do you take action more, procrastinate less, do something?
Yes, procrastinate. If you're being hung up on something, and this is me. I think I've gotten hung up on my illnesses, and I'm not doing things. I know what the problem is, but mushrooms make an event like that helps you examine it differently, like seeing a shrink. But if it's something that's usually, it reduces my anxiety a great deal. The experience itself is quite horrifying. It's not comfortable. Reality disintegrates from the world drops out from underneath you, and it's very scary. So it's not the trip. The trip isn't the point. Some people have fun on the trip. I never did. There's some giggles here and there, and it's fun watching the colors blur and merge, but generally it's terrifying. It's the coming back and putting yourself together that is therapeutic. And it takes usually, for me, a week, couple weeks to really kind of process what's going on in my head. It's one of the things that helped me get through my illnesses before I knew what they were. I knew there was something wrong, and it helped me accept that there's just stuff that's going on that I don't know. Now, I would rather have had the diagnosis and the treatment instead of the mushroom trip at the time. I'd like to take care of the problem, but everything comes when it's supposed to, I guess. So at the time, it helped me get through some hard times. I've only done it 4 times. So it's not like alcohol or weed or something that's kind of fun and you want to do it all the time. It's for me, not very fun, but it's the result. It's like working out. Usually the working out hurts, but the result is what you want. And so I've only done it a few times, but it's been helpful every time. With anxiety and things like that. Just getting caught up in my own shit, it takes you out of your own shit.
Very interesting. Well, with that, we probably need to pinch this enough. I've got to get myself on the band practice. But just a real quick parting concept for me only. If I was going to talk about any kind of a result that I would like to get from whatever action I take, whether that is action or talk therapy or a mushroom, I would want to make more money.
Money doesn't solve the problems, but it's sure a good down payment. Yes. Money.
I'm so shallow.
Money. Well, in the world of capitalism, in a world run by capitalism, if you don't have any, you die. So it's no longer about can you go out into the woods and light a fire and gut animals. This is the universe we live in. This is the reality. We've created it, and if we can't figure out how to live on our own reality, and by and large, I haven't. I've been successful at things the market doesn't really feel deserve a large amount of money. I've been successful raising some kids. I've been successful at a business. I've been successful at lots of stuff in my life, important stuff, but I'm not a stock market exchange guy. I didn't write code. whatever pays the most. I'm not a doctor. I never had the follow through to get the big bucks that capitalists society has decided get the big bucks. And neither of you, by the way, neither one of us have done whatever it is that needs done. I like to think that we're both pretty smart, fairly intelligent, not stable or geniuses, but we're pretty intelligent. There are ways.
I also get my ass handed to me every day by people that are smarter than I am. So.
Sure. But there are also, I think it's clear, people that are way less educated and way less conscientious and way less self-aware than us that are making a butt ton of money. So whatever it is that we're missing, it's not intelligence. Yes. What we're missing isn't intelligence. It isn't the ability to research. We're not missing the ability to see things from different perspectives. Whatever it is that we are missing, we aren't getting.
We don't know.
We haven't got it yet. Or, like a lot of stuff, I just don't have the stomach to do. Was traveler rule number 7, never try to cash in on hypocrisy. I could probably, if I wanted to, start becoming a shrieking radical leftist and put on a persona of how persecuted I am, dye my head blue or something, and just be super offensive. And I would probably get some views. I could probably leverage that and somehow make some money. I don't have the stomach for whatever it takes to stick out in this society.
I don't have the stomach to be a hammer dropping closer.
Right. It's I feel bad when I screw people. I don't want to betray. I feel betrayed if I even think about betraying someone else. And the only way you're going to make it in corporate America or in the corporate world is if you're a sociopath, it seems, or have sociopathic tendencies, and you separate humanity from capital. And that, as a lefty, has been my entire problem with capitalism, is it separates capital from humanity. And I can't do it. And as much as you argue about capitalism and the market and how wonderful it is, you haven't been able to do it either. And I'm betting for very similar reasons.
Possibly.
But yeah, if we can figure out how to do it, man, let's end on a happy note. We're failures. Although I see it as a win. Yeah.
Everybody have a great day.
See you, man.
Love you, man. See you
Love
later.
you too.